My name is Ethan. This is me building and documenting a $1 million per year AI business in public. And I'm going to take you along for the ride. I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes. So let's get stuck in. So it's December 27th. I'm in Canada currently. I'm not from here, just traveling from the US. And so I fell off the creative horse. I had 10 days in a row of pure raw creativity, and I fell off, and it annihilated my self-esteem. So creativity these days for me is life and death. If I'm not locked in, I don't even like the term locked in, because it's like hustle culture, bro. No, it's like, no, if I'm not like removing all the distractions from my life and spending deep work in trying to create the conditions, or rather creating the conditions for flow state, feel like a piece of shit. So the last 3 days, I was even slightly sick, but I was in this Airbnb. It was Christmas, traveling alone here, and really I'm just like going all in on this business, but I'm traveling alone, and it gets really fucking isolating sometimes. And it's like, if I'm not 6 hours per day of flow state in the creative process, I want to pull my hair out. And I feel awful. And so it really is life or death here. Like I feel like deeply depressed, like really intense depression and suffering that surfaces as soon as I am not doing that 6 hours per day of deep work and flow state. Work on the mission, on the vision. And so we're getting back on the horse today. This is day one of documenting, and today what's on the agenda is 2 hours of refining the message. And then I'm going to be proactively creating some artifacts, a letter to myself, some mindset stuff to basically make sure that next time I fall off, I can get back on faster. Then we're going to do 3 hours of scripting plus filming a long form video for the main YouTube channel. So I've been really thinking about my message. Who am I speaking to? What do I want to get across? People who don't build audiences and brand, I don't think they realize how hard it actually is, because it's not just like, let's just create random content and just create all this content and life's gonna be good. It's like, no. The people that do it well, it's like, who am I speaking to? What are their pain points? Who is that audience? But then also, what is the message, right? If my message is the same as every other's, like, oh, AI is crazy and it's so good and it's gonna change your life and change your business, why would someone click on my video as opposed to someone else's? And so I've been really soul searching and figuring out, like, what do I actually believe about the space after I've been in the space for 18 months, like, with the business. And after being in the space for 18 months, I have a lot of insights and contrarian takes to offer. Specifically, one I've been sitting with is that AI taking a bunch of jobs is a good thing. That's gonna piss some people off, but everyone hates their job anyway. Everyone hates their fucking 9 to 5. So why is everyone getting so upset when AI is gonna take it? Okay, well, like, I need to figure out a way to survive. Okay, go figure out a way to survive. Go figure out what you need to do and what you need to learn. It's like, oh yeah, but all these companies are going to be one-person companies and there's going to be no one to hire. It's like, okay, go fucking figure out what service you want to offer and be one of those owners that's hiring agents to do it for you. Like, okay, I can't do that because I'm a single parent, and it's like, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit naive because I'm a single dude who has a bunch of free time. But I built this business when I was in a relationship. AI is getting so good that it will just build workflows for you. So like, if you're still trying to learn N8N and all this technical shit, stop. That's not the thing to do. What is the thing to do? It's to develop vision, develop direction, to figure out what you want out of life. Because once you have that North Star, that Polaris star, that whatever that is, then it's like, figure out how the fuck to get there. Most people, they're aimlessly trying to learn tools like N8N, but they have no fucking clue where they want to go. So they're just like learning tools all day. At the end of the day, how you solve a problem, tools are only 10% of the work. The other 90% is figuring out what is the actual problem? What is the nature of the problem? A lot of people think they're solving a technical automation problem. What they're actually solving is a human problem. Is a problem of how do you coordinate humans effectively? You can use AI and now the AI systems that I'm building with my clients, we're thinking through, this is a human-run business. There's a bunch of employees. How do we augment every single one of those employees? And it's like, we're not going to have those people working with end-to-end workflows because that shit breaks constantly and they're not technical enough to fix it. So we're architecting from the ground up a system that it's human first. It's fundamentally human first. And it's like most people that are trying to start these AI businesses, they're focused on the wrong things. They're focused on the tools and the tech. And that, like, fuck the tools and the tech. Like, you can use any tool to solve any problem, pretty much. Every AI model is good enough to solve any problem that you want. What's rare is the people that actually think through from first principles how to actually achieve something in a business. Okay, we want to make recruiting easier. It's like, okay, you could build some AI recruiting workflow. But is that actually going to help? Is that actually going to help anyone? Maybe you try to hire someone and figure out why the fuck recruiting is hard. Maybe recruiting isn't hard because you have to go through a bunch of people in a list. Maybe it's hard for a different reason because everyone is not differentiated, right? So that's just a little bit of a rant, but today we're going to be refining the message. We're going to be really getting that message down pat, really figuring out what that is, because I believe if I really get that message down pat, if I really develop the conviction and it's like, this is the fucking message, then everything else will follow, because I'll be able to wake up every day and feel fucking inspired. I'm not going to feel inspired every fucking day, but if the message is clear enough in my mind and I understand why I believe in that message and why that message is important for people to hear, then that's kind of like the North Star. And then every time I sit down to create content, it's not like, oh, what should I create today? It's like, how do I best articulate this message? What is a new way I can articulate this message? That's a lot different to sit down and be like, what is a new way I can articulate this message and this vision? Is a lot different than, what the fuck am I going to create today? Right? So that's the rant. So I've been working on my message. I've been trying to figure out all morning, like, what is my experience in the AI space and what is actually happening and how am I going to serve those people? And this is kind of like a raw, unfiltered version of what I came up with. So the way AI is taught online is manipulative bullshit. I like to bring founders to a degree of clarity by solving real business problems with AI live on camera so they can see that it's just clear thinking and not magic. And now that's really it. It's like people are fucking hyping AI up and they're seeing it as this magic bullet. And it's like, if you understand how to think clearly, you can solve problems with AI and you can use AI really well. If you don't know how to think clearly, you're just going to be trying to copy everyone else and how they're using AI, and it's not going to work in your business. And this is fundamentally one of the things that I came up with. So I want to go through a couple of the other kind of like core messages of my brand that are going to be the North Stars for me as I make content going into 2026, as I make art going into 2026. So here's a couple of the other kind of like sub points or corollary points to that. The great and these are all things that I just came up with this morning. The great tragedy of our time is our inability to escape conformity. Why do people copy workflows instead of think clearly? Conformity. Why do people follow AI gurus instead of actually just figuring it out? Conformity. Why are people scared of AI taking their jobs? Because they conformed into jobs that don't require original thinking. Why does most AI education and content fail? It teaches conformity and doesn't teach original thinking. So fundamentally, the great tragedy of our time is that everything around us, like, you think you're an original thinker, you're not. You're a fucking conformist. And I'm a conformist. We're all conformists. But there's degrees. It's a spectrum. There's a spectrum and degrees to how much conformity you are embodying. And to to be on the degree where you're genuinely doing original thinking. And now, the opposite of conformity is not non-conformity, because for most people that are they see themselves as non-conformist, really it's just conformity masking as non-conformity. It's just like rejecting conformity. But if you're taking something that's conformity and you're rejecting it, that is just as much an act of conformity as accepting it, right? And so what is the opposite of conformity? It's genuine, original, creative thinking. It's adding value creatively to the world, doing original thinking. And most people try to add value by rejecting conformist narratives, and they see that as contrarian. But that's not true at all. A true contrarian take is something that you arrived at through original thinking. A take that's not very evocative or contrarian is one where you're like, oh, most people think this, I think the opposite. It's like, but why? Do you believe the opposite because you want to be a nonconformist and you want to reject what other people are saying? Or do you believe the opposite because you've thought about the situation in the cultural event enough, and you've arrived at your own conclusion? That conclusion happens to be opposite of what most people think, but you've arrived at it through that process. If you haven't arrived at it through that process of original thinking, then you're just still just as asleep and conformist as everyone else, but you're just rejecting it, and you have a slightly different, you're just posturing as someone that's the opposite of what everyone else thinks. Now, I do think it's a good rule of thumb where if you believe the opposite of what everyone else thinks, what the majority thinks, you're probably on the right track. But again, it doesn't even matter. Like you have to do the original thinking to arrive at that viewpoint fundamentally. That is my belief, and that is what I arrived at here this morning, doing some thinking. And so I was just thinking through, like, what is the message, right? Here's a couple of the other messages I came up with. These are the ones that didn't make the cut, but the key to learning AI is to stop listening to AI news. A business without a unique advantage isn't scalable. It's just a commodity. AI isn't rotting your brain. It's just the way that you're using it that is. Most AI education teaches copying, not thinking. Following experts is the new illiteracy. Copying other people's workflows is why you're still stuck. The AI hype machine is a new self-help scam. The best AI system is the one that you actually use, not the one that's the most complex. Simple beats clever. Scaling without thinking is automating mistakes faster. Your problems are unique. Therefore, you can't take someone else's solutions to solve your problems. You need to come up with your own solutions. It's simple as shit, but it's just like people don't understand this stuff. You're not overwhelmed by what's happening in the AI space. The reason you're overwhelmed is because you lack clarity. Long-term horizons are the new competitive advantage. The world that I want to see, and this is it. I was thinking about, like, what is the world that I want to bring people in? What is the ideal world that I want to shape, that I want people to step into? And it's a world where, and I'm still working on how do I actually get people there, show them, how you can solve problems with AI by just thinking through them, so on and so forth. But how do I actually get people into that world? Or what is that world, rather? That world is one that's characterized by long-term time horizons. So if somebody is optimistic, they see a beautiful future, which most people don't anyway. They think AI is going to kill us all or something, or the world is going to self-destruct in the next 2 years. I've been in this trap for a while, actually. This is why it feels so exciting to see what's possible outside of it. Now, what is that world that I'm trying to take people towards? It's, again, like I said, long-term time horizons, which means when people trust when they trust in their ability to adapt to the changing circumstances of the world, to the changing technology, to actually creates a feeling of excitement, because it's like, I trust that no matter what happens in the world, I'll be able to adapt, and now I can be at ease. Not because everything's fully secure and unchanging, but it's because I'm so at ease in the changingness of it that I trust that I can adapt. And when that happens, I now have a long-term time horizon, because I say, okay, now that I trust that I can adapt, what am I going to work on? What am I going to do? Well, where do I want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I have no fucking clue what technology is going to be like in 20 years from now. But I believe that I'll figure it out along the way, and I want to develop mastery over the course of the next 2 decades of my life. That's what I care about. And I think if more people thought that way, if more people were devoting their lives to developing mastery in the thing that they, in a specific thing that they feel called to, over 2 decades of their life, and they committed 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to the pursuit and mastery of one thing, it's just not possible in today's world because people only have a time horizon of 6 months or 3 months or 6 months or maybe 12 months, right? If the max time horizon of 99% of people is 12 months, how do you expect us to create a beautiful fucking world? You can't. You need a time horizon that's 5, 10, 20 years out. You know, in past cultures, I can't remember what it was, I think it's some Native American thing. It was like, you want to create a future that will only be birthed 10 generations behind you or something like that. I don't know exactly how it goes, but this idea of like, how do my actions now contribute to a future 100 years from now that my great grandchildren will inhabit? Well, that's a different type of thinking. And when you hold that type of thinking, how you approach your work on a day-to-day basis is radically different, because you're not just trying to make a quick buck. You're trying to build systems, and you're trying to think through problems in a way that is anti-fragile. And so I want to teach people not just how to build fucking N8N workflows. I want to teach them how to think logically through business problems using AI and how to develop solutions, AI augmented and AI native solutions to their business problems. But I want to open source my process of how I'm doing it so I can show you what it looks like to develop these systems in real time, not just what the end product is, which could have been any fucking N8N workflow that I ripped off the N8N marketplace or something. You know, if you don't know what N8N is, just like don't look at it, don't learn it. It's not worth it. But if I was like, okay, I trust my ability to think from first principles through business decisions, now, like, it doesn't matter what is happening with AI, I'll always be able to add value and solve problems in the market. There will always be more problems to solve in the market because I trust my ability to think from first principles. And because I have a long-term time horizon, this is the skill, this is the meta skill of solving problems and thinking from first principles that I want to be practicing, where 10 years from now, I want to be so fucking good at solving problems and thinking from first principles that people will be like, holy fuck, this guy is like on another level in another world. It's like, yeah, it's because I spent 10 fucking years training myself in the skill of thinking from first principles and using whatever tools were at my disposal to solve the problems from first principles. Right now, if AI gets leagues better and AI agents can run an entire business, which is not where we're at right now, if it gets leagues better where AI agents can run an entire business and there's 1-person businesses or even 0-person businesses, let's take out the 0-person example for now, but there's 1-person businesses. Now, how am I gonna fit in that world? If I'm really fucking good at thinking from first principles, it won't be that fucking hard for me to figure out once that future arrives how I can actually fit into that world. But if I take other people's ideas, frameworks, processes, systems, and try to force them into my own experience, I'm gonna get to that world and I'm not gonna know what the fuck to do, because I just spent all of my time in a state of deep conformity, imitating and copying others. And now when those tactics that I learned don't map on and adapt to the world of the future, now I'm fucked. Now I'm fucked. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this, and that's why I'm developing this message that I'm going to keep going deeper on in 2025, that if AI takes everyone's jobs, that's a fucking good thing, because maybe it'll force people to think from first principles and figure out how to adapt themselves into the world. Because right now, if your entire business is the result of running a process of being a human machine that just runs SOPs for a boss or a business owner, well, like, what value were you really providing if you were just and if you were doing that, the reality is you were already commoditized, and if you would have got fired, you probably could have been replaced with 100 other people that could have followed that process just as well as you could have. And so all AI does is it reveals to us how much most of us are just automated machines in the first place, where we're just repeating things on autopilot. And what is the difference between a human and a machine? I mean, you could argue the machines are intelligent, but the argument here is that intelligence alone is not enough. You can be really fucking intelligent. AI is really fucking intelligent. But you know what it can't do? It can't overcome its own self-deception. It can't find the ways that its intelligence is biased. But a human can, right? And so my goal isn't just to be more intelligent. It's to derive conclusions from first principles, from my experience, and from my subjective experience, but also my experience in the world with the things that I'm working on. And when I do that, when I derive these lessons, that's different from intelligence, because that's just like, it doesn't matter what the fuck conformist ideas are happening in the world. If I'm deriving my own lessons from what I'm seeing and from my own experience, then I will always have something valuable to say. But if I don't know how to think originally, and I just pick these ideas off the tree of fucking social media and YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'm like, oh, I like that little nugget, I like, oh, that resonates. It's like, oh, what if I combine them in this way? And that's getting a little bit closer. But if I do that, then it's like, how is that gonna help you when AI can do that too? So this is the conviction. I'm refining this message still, but I wanted to share this with you to talk about, to give you a little taste of what's coming in 2026. Okay, so I just had an epiphany. Most of the reason that people can't get results from AI is this: they didn't diagnose the problem in their business correctly in the first place. So I could give you, let's say, 20 different AI systems: marketing, recruiting, ops, customer success, sales. I could systematize and automate every part of your business, but it's not gonna fucking do anything. You wanna know why? Well, the reason it's not gonna do anything is because you can't even diagnose what the actual problem is in your business correctly in the first place, right? Like, if you incorrectly diagnose what the bottleneck and constraint in your business is, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is you are going to implement a system that I give you into your business to solve that problem, and it's going to solve that problem, but you're not going to make any more revenue, and it's not going to matter whatsoever for your bottom line. And then you're going to say, hey, the system you gave me didn't actually help my business. And the response would be, it did help your business and it did solve the problem, but because you incorrectly diagnosed the problem, you solved the wrong problem, and you didn't solve the problem that's actually going to unlock revenue in the business. And if you would have diagnosed your problem better, then I would have given you a different system, and then that system would have actually unlocked revenue in your business. So what does that mean for us here? It means that half, if maybe even like, the 80-20 principle, 80% of the work is diagnosing the problem correctly. 20% of the work is giving you the system, right? So what is the 80-20 here? What is the 20% of work that will get 80% of the results? The one thing that you should focus on all your time on, the high leverage thing, is diagnosing the problem correctly, because once you do that, I can give you a system that's gonna solve that problem, or at least we could, from first principles, develop and think through a system that will solve that problem for your business. But you need to spend the vast majority of your time, or you work with me and we take the vast majority of the time together. Like when I consult with people, I charge like $500 an hour. But why? Because I am helping people diagnose what the problem is. And then at the end of the call, like, oh, but we didn't actually solve it. It's like there's that classic saying, it's like, a problem well stated is half solved. That's exactly it. A problem well defined is half solved. We solved half of it by defining it correctly. Oh, and now you want me to solve it for you? Yeah, like, let me just go pull up some AI system from the archives, or let me go like construct the AI system. It'll take us 20 minutes to figure out what the AI system needs to be. It's like, boom, okay, like, the how is not that hard. Like, I can give you the how. I can work with fucking Claude, and I can build out the how for you, and then you can go implement it, or you can go pay someone else to implement it for you, and you're gonna pay them a lot less than you paid me. Why? Because it's more difficult to identify the problem correctly than it is to develop a solution to the problem. And everyone in the marketplace is developing solutions to the problems. Not very many people are good at actually identifying what the problem is in the first place. And if you can be the one that can identify what the problem is in the first place, well, yeah, like go pay someone else 1/4 of what you pay me to go implement and execute on the how. And like that, like you need execution. Like if we solve the problem well, but then you don't execute, like it doesn't fucking matter. But if you incorrectly identify the problem and then you execute for 30 days straight, that's not going to solve the problem either. So you have to have this delicate balance of spending enough time diagnosing the problem well, and then also quickly, and then that's the hard part, is quickly context switching and be like, okay, we identified the problem well enough, and now instantly the problem switches from strategy to execution. Now, as soon as you solve the problem, then like literally stop thinking and start doing until you solve the problem. Then once you solve the problem, come back and figure out what the next problem is. And that's what business is, right? You don't know what the problem is, and you define the problem and you solve it, and then after that you don't know what the next problem is, and then you have to spend all of your time identifying what the constraint and the bottleneck is, and then figuring out, and a lot of time you're like, okay, for me it's like my constraint is brand, or it's organic. Like I don't have enough organic audience and organic brand and organic trust. I built a fucking offer in a product, but it didn't sell, right? Why? Well, brand. Okay, but that's not identifying the problem. But why is brand the problem? What about the brand is the problem? Well, the problem is that I'm making generic videos that talk about features that no one cares about, that don't build trust. Okay, now maybe we're getting a little bit closer. So it's like, okay, now that's what we identified. Now, let's say that that's the problem that I identified. Now what? Well, now, how do I create content that has a genuine message behind it, that's based on my own experience, that resonates with people at scale, that is in a format that they like, that I do with enough consistency to build trust over time, that then, and then on top of that, I remove as many friction points as I can to bring them deeper into my ecosystem until they become raving fans. Now we've defined the problem a little bit better. That's what the problem is. How do I do that? Okay, well now it's like, it's not as hard to come up with a solution to that problem. Now to say the problem is brand, it's like, yeah, like what's fucking new? But if I define the problem that specifically, like the second example, it's like, okay, now how do I do that? Well, I could work with AI and come up with a solution. Currently, it's like documenting the process, it's live streaming, and it's doing like one long form video a day, repurposing that into short form videos. How do I do that? Okay, well, it's not that hard to take a long form video, pull an API, and I can transcribe it and turn it into short form, and with good hooks, and to have a hook library, and to have a bunch of high quality editors that I get from Upwork and put them into a Notion board and database where they'll be assigned to things, and then either I post them or hiring someone to post. Like the actual implementation is not always that hard, but if you define the problem really well, it becomes clear what the implementation needs to be. Whereas if you don't, then you're going to be implementing, you're always going to have that doubt in the back of your mind of, am I doing the right thing? Now that uncertainty is natural to some degree, but you can actually mitigate that uncertainty quite a bit by defining the problem really well.